Hello everyone. Today's webinar is being recorded. Please can everyone ensure that their video is switched off and that you only use first names when addressing other people to ensure that there's no way of identifying someone outside of the course for people watching this in the future. The reason that we record some of these live training sessions is threefold: for internal training purposes, so that we can become better at delivering them, to provide to funders as part of our commitments to them, and for trainees, you, to watch. If you haven't been able to make the session, then it's obviously nice to be able to come back and watch it in the future if you want to check something or if you haven't attended. We store these videos on a secure internal Teams platform and as private YouTube videos, which cannot be accessed without our permission, and we will only store these videos for a maximum of 5 years and then delete. You have the right to choose to leave the session at any stage if you don't wish to be recorded, and if you do want to leave, we will hold another webinar unrecorded to accommodate you. If you speak during the session by unmuting yourself and you then wish the recording to be deleted, we will do so, and neither Microsoft Teams nor Springboard store any information about you, including your IP address. And if you want any more info about that, you can jump onto the news item on your Flow portal that's called Understanding Webinars and get a little bit more of a rundown there. And there's also a transcript of what I've just said. And that's me finished with that big long mouthful of words.
Thank you so much, Ted. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Hi everybody, welcome and thanks very much for joining today's webinar on confidence. My name is Elaine Muir and I'm a Programme Manager with Springboard, and I'll be taking you through today's webinar. My colleague Sharon, who you've heard there, will be manning the chatter function, and Ted, who you already know, is here as well. So please feel free to get involved. So first of all, before we start, I'm going to ask you a simple question, and I'd like you to type your answer into the chat function. So the question I'm going to ask you is, what is your favourite fruit? You'd like to type your answer in now, please. We've got some answers there.
Yep, so we've got a pineapple, a banana, a raspberry.
Oh, very exotic. I'm actually thinking about how I can mix these together and make some nice cocktail or nice smoothie. However, yeah, you know what? That question and the answer has nothing to do at all to do with today's webinar, but it's got everything to do with how you can get involved. So now that everybody has had a chance to type in the chat, that's all you have to do if you want to make a comment, if you want to answer a question. I will be asking questions throughout today's session, and I will signpost to you that I'd be expecting an answer, and there'll be a wee bit of silence when you type, but that's okay. We're okay with silence. Okay, I promise I won't put anybody on the spot, so don't be scared to get involved. And yeah, let's start off from there. I think I'll go with a raspberries. Yes?
Can I just double check, because we've got Rita on the webinar and I've not got an answer from Rita. So can I just check that you are able to use the chat function, Rita?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Well, wonderful. Just wanted to check just so you don't miss out on anything. Thank you. Sorry.
Fantastic. Thanks for checking that, Sharon. That's great. Okay, so let's look at confidence and what does confidence look like. So what I'd like you all to do is, if you can think of somebody that you know that you think is a confident person, and just have that person in your mind. Now that can be, you know, an actor, a singer, a comedian. It could be a family friend or you know, a family member, maybe a boss you've got. Maybe a sports person. I just want you to think of somebody. So does everybody have somebody they can think about that they think is confident? Give me a thumbs up. Now, what I want you to do then with that person, with that in mind, that person in mind, what is it about that person that makes you think they're confident? So I want you to pull out things maybe by, you know, how they act, how they look, whatever it may be. Why do you think they're confident? So give me some answers now, thanks.
Okay, so they're starting to come through. We've got they know who they are.
Okay. Yeah.
And attitude.
Yeah. So let's look at that. I'm going to break it down a little bit further. What is it about their attitude, or why do you think they know who they are? What is it you're actually seeing there?
And we've got answer come through, express themselves clearly, and then another one, the way they carry themselves.
Fantastic. Some great answers there. Yeah, people who are assertive enough, I think, to express themselves clearly, and that could be down to sometimes the job that they do, or the way in which they talk, the way they carry themselves. I love that. Is that about how people are maybe stand tall, would you say? No, are grounded, maybe their head is held high, their chin is up. Yeah. What else? What else are they able to do? What else makes them look confident or appear confident?
Got another answer that came through as well in their Elaine conversation, body language.
Yeah, absolutely. These are great answers. So yeah, so let's have a little look at that. They can stand up and talk in public. That's some of the examples we've been given already about how they can express themselves clearly. It might even be that they have an important job. They come across as being articulate. Powerful body language, that's already been mentioned. So that's things like, you're right, you know, the eye contact, the open gestures, the standing tall, even the pace that somebody walks can make them look very confident, can't it? And another thing is, that's not been mentioned, is sometimes we overanalyze things and can be our own worst enemies. But people who are confident or appear confident, they can make mistakes, but not worry about them, you know, and not go over and over and over the same thing again and again. So with that person that you've got in mind, if we know that that's what confidence looks like, I want you to think about, do you think that person is always confident in all situations? What do you think, a yes or a no?
Okay, we've got a couple of no's and a probably not. So anyone a no.
Yeah, and absolutely, that's absolutely the case. But sometimes we just think that, you know, we're not confident, but other people are confident all the time. And that's absolutely doesn't have to be the case at all. They can mask it, but they may not be as confident as they seem. I'll give you an example of that. The singer Adele, she's been in the news quite a lot recently, hasn't she? I remember watching her on a Brits performance a few years ago, and you know, it's a huge industry event. There's fans there, there's your peers there. By all attempt, you know, in all regards, it's quite a rowdy audience. However, Adele came on the stage and she sang a song. It was just her in the spotlight. It was you know, it was all dimmed in the background. There was a piano player, and she sang her song and she absolutely owned the stage. I'm not sure if anybody's seen it or not, but she owned the stage and the audience were absolutely captivated. She was so calm and she was composed and elegant, and you could have heard a pin drop. So you might be surprised then to know, I know I was then, to learn that she actually suffers terrible anxiety and a real lack of confidence. At one of her concerts, she actually escaped through the fire exit before she had to go on. And another one, she was sick. She's very often sick before she goes on. And one time, some poor person next to her, she projectile vomited all over them. So, and there's lots of people who I think, you know, we think are confident, but people like Rihanna suffers the same kind of thing. Stephen Fry, the actor Jennifer Lawrence. There's absolutely loads of them. Another one was John Sim, the actor. He was waiting to go onto a play, and he was at the side of the stage, and I read that he was so petrified and had such a lack of confidence about going on that he was thinking, right, how can I get out of this? I'm standing in the wings. I know I can maybe fake a heart attack, and you know, the ambulance will surely come, and surely they'll have to stop the play. And then, you know, when I'm getting close to the hospital, I can see him a bit better. And I mean, it's incredible to think what he was going through. Of course, the green light came on. He went onto stage. he had done his planning and preparation, so the confidence kicked in because he just went and done it. And sometimes that's really, you know, as hard as it is, sometimes that is what it's about. So let's look at the confidence and what makes it up. And what I want you to think about is there an area here that you feel that you could get support with from your program manager? It might be worth jotting that down if there's an area here you think that's holding you back. So being positive, being motivated, being determined, being assertive, and believing in yourself. So if we're naturally good at something, so if we have a natural ability or we've learned to do something well, that can bring confidence to us. So think about, you know, learning to play football or gaming or playing an instrument. You know, the more that we learn and the more we practice, then our ability increases, so we become more confident. Also, if we've got the capacity to understand something, or if we're in the control of a situation, that again would bring more confidence. And self-esteem, you must have belief in yourself. You know, that's about being, you know, you are a good person, I believe in you. And the definition of self-esteem is about having confidence in your own ability. So we'll have a wee look at that in a wee bit later. Everybody still with me? Give me a thumbs up. So what we're going to look at now is confidence in the workplace. So if we are confident in the workplace, how do you think that can help you when you're at work? So give me some answers there.
Okay, we've got the first answer through of talking to customers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, think about, you know, if we take this to hospitality sector, if we have you know, an attack of the nerves, a lack of confidence, for example, then it can be hard the very first time you approach a table of 10 and they're all chatting to each other, and it might be quite difficult to be heard, you know. But we can be that person if we are confident. And we work on our confidence, we are able to go up and maybe be a bit louder and say, hi guys, I'm here to take your order, can I get you some drinks? Or, you know, just to be smiley, friendly. It certainly helps with customers. We're able to talk to customers more. Any other answers?
Yeah, we've got a few more coming in. So shows good service, shows professionalism, and when we make mistakes in front of guests.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's look at that one then. When we make mistakes in front of guests, what do you think would happen if we had a lack of confidence? What might happen there? So say we break a glass breaks on the floor, and what happens? Everybody goes, yay! Or how can that help us, you know, if we're confident? Any ideas?
So we've got a thought process of smile and accept the yay, then clean up and carry on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, sometimes that can be crippling, but we just have to accept that, you know what? You know, people will do that, I think, almost just to, you know, to ease the embarrassment. They're not really thinking about you 1 second later. So it's important that with confidence, we just, as it said, we just carry on, we clean it up, we accept the way hey, and just carry on. But let's look at some other things as well. We can learn more because we're able to ask questions. Have you ever been in a situation where we've got a lack of confidence and we can't ask a question because we think we're maybe being a bother to somebody, or we think, oh, I can't ask another question? Or, you know, when you ask a question, everybody else is probably thinking the same thing. But I think in the workplace, if we're able to ask questions, it shows that we're engaged. Okay, so the manager thinks, oh my goodness, that person is really interested, that new start wants to learn, they want to get on. So being able to ask questions and have that confidence we'll recognise more. We'll make more friends as well. Studies show that confidence is a really attractive trait in people. So people are much more likely to believe in a confident person, and confident people connect much better with other people. So that providing the better customer service. You know, if you are able to go up and talk to a customer about, you know, at the bar and you know, what kind of drinks do you like, you know, what's your favourite spirit, have you ever tried this cocktail before, you know, having the confidence to show off your product knowledge and the things that you've learned really increases the experience for the customer, it increases your own knowledge, and it makes for a much more enjoyable shift. And it can also increase your tips as well because you're giving great service. So that confidence can really, really help you. And also being recognised as competent at work. So that can be, certainly you'll gain more responsibility, people may see you as an expert and come and ask you questions, and ultimately gain promotion and start moving forward with your own career development. So it's not always as easy as that. There are certainly factors that can knock your confidence. So with the best will in the world, we might say, yeah, I feel good today, I feel confident. What kind of things do you think can knock your confidence? And I'll get your answers now. Thanks.
Okay, insults, great one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, insults, I mean, I don't know if you mean from who you mean, but let's have a look at that in a wee bit more detail. So insults can come from all manner of places. I mean, if we get customers that we don't understand what's going on in their life, they might be stressed out about something, we don't know what's happened before they came and seen us. So they might be rude, or they might be, you know, insulting. And, you know, we obviously train on that as well. We'll train you how to deal with difficult customers. And, you know, personally, you get to a stage where it's almost a challenge. You think, if there's a difficult customer, let me speak to them because I want to turn that around into a positive. So again, that does bring confidence, but you have to be trained in how to do that. So again, that's somewhere that Springboard and Agile Learning for Life, we can absolutely come and help you with these things. If it's insults from people round about you, for example, you could work in a place where it could be your colleagues, could be insulting, it could be a boss. You know, all of that is not useful at all, is it? So I would always say, let's look at some of the answers and we'll come back to that. So a manager who only criticises rather than praises. Do we want to stay in a place where that's going on? Is that useful? That could be the manager that insults as well. I would always advise people, it's the same with people who bully, then we have processes in place in the workplace to deal with that. And you can certainly confront a bully and you can talk to your line manager or above. However, ultimately, I would say go and work somewhere better that appreciates you. So don't get dragged down into that. Any more examples?
Yeah, so we've got a few more that have come up. So you can lose confidence if you don't have enough knowledge of what you're serving.
Yeah.
And then when you make mistakes in public that you wouldn't normally make on a task that you've done loads of times. Mm-hmm. And bad news and somebody criticising you. So similar to the insult.
Yeah, so some of the things we've got down here. So let's look at the great answers, absolutely. And I think it's about, you know, recognising, you said something there about, you know, I think we shouldn't be too harsh on ourselves, basically. If we make a mistake that we wouldn't normally make, well, we're human, you know, so it doesn't matter. You know, if you make a mistake in front of somebody, they're not thinking about us after 2 minutes. Remember, we're all the stars in our own movies, so we're always thinking about ourselves rather than other people. So don't get bogged down if you make an error. Take it for what it is, learn from it. If there was something that you can learn from it, then fantastic, and then just move on. Some other points here: surrounding yourself with negative people and listening to negativity. If you've done that before, you'll know it can be really, really toxic. So if you go into a workplace, you know, and you're like, hi guys, you know, how are you today? And people are like, you know, I've got a hangover, or, you know, I've not slept last night, or I'm so tired, or this job is rubbish, or, you know, surrounding yourself with negative people like that and listening to that negativity, you know, it's like a cancer. It just spreads, and before long, with the best will in the world, when you try to stay confident, it can be really difficult. So I would say that we should limit our time with people who are negative. If we need to listen to people who are negative, put on almost like a protective shield over yourself so any negativity can bounce off. And because sometimes the negative people could be family members, for example, or people we can't get away from. But in the workplace, again, think about, is this the kind of surroundings where I want to be? And go and get another job. When you've got a job, it's much easier. Lack of self-belief and fear. We need to believe in ourselves, and that is about believing you're a good person. And fear of trying something, you know, I would always advise people to go and look at who's doing really well and then say, you know, can I spend some time with you? So if it's in a workplace and you've got one bartender who's doing fantastic, you know, when your shift's finished, saying, do you mind if I spend an hour with you, just kind of seeing how you make your cocktails, or kind of bar back for you, or, you know, kind of have a go. There might be training events that you can do, and certainly the things that you can learn when you're with Springboard, it takes that fear away. So the more we practice something, the better we get at something, then our self-belief will increase. A lack of direction and appropriate supervision, I can bring obviously a lack of confidence. Not being prepared is one that we see often. So when we see people going for interviews, if they've done no preparation at all, they can be very jittery before they go into the interview, and that's purely by not being prepared. Again, that's something that we can help with on our interview preparation webinars or workshops. So being prepared, you almost get to a stage where you're saying, right, bring it on, I can answer anything, and that's where we can come in and help with you again. So preparation is really important. Not possessing qualifications or experience. So again, that's that practice makes perfect. Negative self-image, bullying, and listening to people who put you down. And that's including our own negative thoughts. So that negative self-image and putting ourselves down, you know, what are we telling ourselves? I hear people telling me, you know, they'll say I'm thick, or I can't do that, or I'm rubbish at that, and that's not based in fact. And I'll always challenge people to, you know, talk to themselves in a much kinder way. You know, we wouldn't dream of talking to somebody else like that. So we need to be kind to ourselves. We are unique. We all have our own qualities, and that's what we have to focus on. So now that we know that the things that can knock our confidence, we can then start to turn them around into pictures, into positives to increase our self-esteem. Everybody still okay there, Sharon, on chatter?
Yeah, we're all good.
Perfect, cool. So how to increase your self-esteem? So associate with positive, supportive people. Don't get pulled into that negativity. Make a list of your past successes, maybe even writing them down in a journal. It's also useful to think about gratitude. You know, what are the good things in our life? And that can be huge things. It could be families or relationships. It can be small things like, you know, we've had a laugh with a friend this morning, or we've made a lovely cake and took it to a neighbour, or all the things that we're grateful for in our life. Writing them down can really start to think about the positives that we've got. As I say, stop comparing ourselves to others, because we all have different strengths and qualities, and list your positive qualities and refer to this list when you feel down. Now, culturally, we're not very good at bigging ourselves up, and if I ask you to write down all your negative qualities, you might find that a bit easier. But what does that say about our self-belief? So I would really advise you to write down your positive qualities, and maybe get a friend or a loved one to help you find out what these unique talents are. And they don't have to be big. So I would like everybody to write down at least one positive quality or characteristic that you've got that you can then refer to. It's the start of your list to look at when you feel down. So as I said, it doesn't have to be anything big. Put it in chat now. So maybe you're a good listener, maybe you're kind, maybe you've overcame adversity, maybe you're a fab cook, maybe you're good at gaming or drawing, and maybe a good laugh. Maybe you always bring the party. So what is it? One good quality, please. It's a hard question, but I want you to start thinking about it now. So give me an answer. One thing that you have that you feel is a positive quality. So put that in chatter now. Thanks.
Okay, so we've got some coming through, Elaine. We've got I keep trying, fantastic one. Organised, and the ability to be resilient when the going gets tough.
Wow, you know what? These are actually huge things. You know, these are really deep things, and that's really positive traits you've got to remember, because these are difficult. You know, resilience, incredibly, you know, especially at times like this, incredibly difficult. So when people talk about keep on trying and being organised and being resilient, these are the big things, guys. These are really important. So get writing these down into a journal or on your phone or somewhere you'd like to keep them, and start adding to them. And when people give you a bit of positive feedback, or somebody says, you know, thanks for that, that was good to chat, get that written into your journal or wherever you're saving it. These are the kind of things that we have to focus on, not the negatives, but the positives. And that's, you know, that's where we have to be kind to ourselves. So sometimes it's just about facing that fear and thinking about, you know, what's the worst that can happen. Fake it until you make it is another really good one as well. You've probably heard of that before as well. But when we can increase our self-esteem and just go for it, sometimes that faking the confidence, we gain new skills. And you've already started that by signing up with Springboard and learning these new things. You've started that. The other things that may be useful, we hints and tips. Have you ever heard of alter egos before? So, for example, if we are, let's take starting a new job, and we're feeling a bit, you know, lack of confidence, and we've done all our things that we've spoke about. So we've thought about what we're good at, and we've done, you know, some positive affirmations where we're saying, I've got this, I've prepped for it, I'm going to do well. Other things we can do is actually almost take an alter ego in with us. So people like Beyonce have an alter ego called Sasha Fierce, and I think she sounds quite fierce actually. So I would probably take somebody like that in with me to an interview or starting a new job, just to show that, you know, the things I see that she's got, the smile, the confidence, the holding her head high, the belief in herself. Do you know what? It looks like that, so I know how to do that, and I can fake that until I make it. Another wee tip that I use, it sounds a bit crazy, but if I'm going for an interview or something, beforehand I would go into the restroom. So I'd go into the loos, into the cubicle, and I would do some power poses. So when I'm being crippled with these negative thoughts of, oh, you know, what if I don't get the job, or what if somebody, you know, that person's got glasses on, they're more important, you know, more intelligent than me, and all these crazy thoughts that we can have, then I will push them out with some positive affirmations and also superhero poses. So you can look this up online, it is a thing. So by putting yourself into like a Superman pose, for example, and maybe saying, maybe not out loud in case somebody else is in the loo, but, you know, by saying, you know, I am strong, I am prepared, I am going to show the best of myself at this interview, you know, with my hand in the air in this superhero pose. It's very hard to feel negative in this situation. So that faking it until you make it, you know, that can really be, it sounds silly, but it can really be useful for you. So I would say, you know what, find out what works for you and go on and show what fantastic potential you do have. But again, above all, be kind to yourself. So the comfort zone. You've probably all heard of the comfort zone. And as it says in the slide, a comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. So it's a place or a situation where you feel comfortable. When we do have to leave our comfort zones, like going for an interview or going for a job, starting a new job, or for anything that's new to us, we can feel nervous, anxious, uncomfortable, and these are all really common emotions to experience. Can anybody think of a time, maybe recently, where they've had to step outside their comfort zone and do something that's felt a bit scary? Anybody want to share some? One of the things I'm thinking about is back to, you know, learning to drive. You know, that can be petrifying, can't it? But if you never take that first lesson, then, you know, you're never going to get the great payoff at the end. So you'll go up and down throughout the learning experience. But the confidence there is understanding you've got somebody in the, you know, the passenger seat who has got dual controls for one. But also that, you know, you're learning every day. So if you make mistakes, that's absolutely normal. It's going to feel scary. But every time you do it, you're going to get better and better. And the payoff of being able to drive and having that freedom is, you know, it's fab. But nerves are normal. Any other examples there we've got?
Yeah, so really relevant at the moment, going out in lockdown.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Absolutely. And I feel that one as well. That it's, you know, absolutely. It can be anxious for us. We can feel terrified. We might have health conditions. We might have people around about us who have health conditions. So it's certainly about doing it in our own time. But when we decide to do it and to do it safely, still to understand that, yeah, we're not going to feel, oh yeah, this is great, I can do this, no problem. We're still going to feel a bit uncomfortable or a bit anxious. But taking these first steps forward and pushing ourselves means that we will grow and we will move forward in life. Any other examples?
Yeah, so one that's definitely not going to happen in the near future, going on aeroplanes.
Yeah, oh wow, yeah. So again, it's understanding that, you know, you can travel places other ways, and it may take longer, of course, and maybe that's the decision you take. But you maybe think, you know what, not going on an aeroplane is costing me something. I can't travel to the places I want to, and if it starts to become a cost and it's not moving us forward, then we have to start thinking about, right, how do we take advice? How do we look at taking that first step out and moving out our comfort zone? Because it's a stagnation that means that we're just not going to move forward with our life. And, you know, I love that saying, what's it, ships are safe in harbour, but that's not what ships were built for. We're meant to be out there. And especially if we link that to unemployment, we weren't built to be, you know, sitting inside our houses and being unemployed, underachieving, not having money coming in. We're meant to be out there. And if we have an interest in hospitality, it's because we're social beings and we love to be around about people. So that'll all come again. But I just want you to recognise that first step, you need to push yourself, and recognise that new things will be scary, but feel the fear and do it anyway, which is a good book, by the way, by Susan Jeffers, if you want to look that up. So I'm going to give you a sort of practical example in terms of maybe how we can work with you identifying these things and helping you move forward. So confidence, aims and objectives. We would kind of look at, first of all, what is your biggest fear and how is it holding you back? And then we'd look at, well, what can you do to build your confidence and achieve these aims? We would say that you must decide on what you want to improve or change, set small, achievable goals, devise an action plan and go for it. Now, that sounds easy, doesn't it? But we're there to help you. You might think, well, where do I start? We're there to help you. So I'm going to give you a specific example that I had, and we'll work our way through this so you can maybe see what I mean by these actions and how they don't have to be huge steps, but the first step is important. So I had a girl on my course who wouldn't use her phone. She would use it to text, and she would use it to, WhatsApp and other social media, but she wouldn't actually talk on the telephone. She was really phone phobic. She wouldn't answer it. She wouldn't phone friends. She certainly wouldn't phone her employer. So when I was talking to her about job search, she felt that this was really holding her back, because she wanted to be able to phone and say, are you hiring? Any jobs going? Can I pop in with my CV? She wanted to do all these things before just going in with her CV. So we felt it was holding her back as well, and our applications were very, she was applying for the job market you can see, where we all know that the job market you can't see, the spec approach can be really, really useful. So first of all, we identified that if employers were phoning her back to offer her jobs, she wasn't answering her phone, so any opportunities would be lost. And secondly, that she couldn't just phone an employer and put herself forward, so it was stunting her progress in getting a job. So first of all, we kept it really, really simple, and I said, right, do you know what? let's phone the speaking clock. Now, she didn't even know what the speaking clock was. That's showing my age. But basically, you phone 123 and the phone tells you what time it is. So she'd done that about 5 times. And she's like, yeah, I'm fine with that because I don't have to talk to anybody. It's an automated system. I was like, that's fine, okay. The next thing then, we phoned a local cafe and just said, right, I says, ask them what time they close. And there was a few false starts. So sometimes she would be able to ask the cafe what time they close and say thank you and put the phone down. Other times she'd get a bit tongue-tied, so she would just hang up. It didn't matter, you know, nobody died, so it didn't matter. And then we started just progressing like that. So I got her to phone a taxi company. I wanted a quote for an airport run. And she phoned and says, can I get a quote for this airport run? And, you know, I don't think she was even recognising how fab she was doing. And then we moved to the job side of things. So I went and sat in another room and she was phoning me and saying, hi, I was an employer. Have you got any jobs going? And I'd say, no, sorry, not at the moment. And she'd say, that's fine. Thank you anyway. Bye. Now, we had came from a place where she couldn't even pick up a phone to now she was phoning a kid on a pretend employer. That was a huge step forward. Then we had to work back the way and look at an action plan and think, right, now the next stage is about, you know, an employer can say, yeah, I've got a job. So you need to think about how you would reply to that. So that was about interview skills, creating an elevator pitch for her, you know, having her CV in front of her, picking out, you know, key things for that hospitality business and, you know, through her research, for example. And we just practice, me in another room. And then ultimately when she got better at phoning a colleague, so I got one of my colleagues to sit in another room and she phoned them. And you know what, there was absolutely no stopping her. There was no stopping her. So just in a very short time, we went live and she secured 2 interviews and she secured a job. And that was all from not being able to use the phone. So quite a long example there, but it's to give you an idea of, sometimes we look at something and think, what does that mean? Well, there's what it means. Some do not using the phone for job search was holding them back. And now they're in employment and they can use their telephone. So there is always a workaround, and maybe you can't see it, but that's what we're trained to do. We're trained to move you forward and help you become unstuck. So that's what we can do. So you write things down you want help with. We'll help your program manager will help you with these action plans and achievable goals. And the world really is your oyster. Okay, so remember, confidence is not knowing that you never fail, but knowing that you can recover and learn from that experience. No one who has ever done anything great has never had a failure. And personally, my biggest learnings and growth have came from making mistakes and things not going to plan. That's where I've learned the most from. So I just pick myself up if I get something wrong, pick myself up, rub myself down, I pat myself on the back for giving it a go, and then I use whatever I've learned to try that again, asking for help where I need it. So remember, Springboard are here to help you and support you with whatever you need. Some of the other tips in summary, remember, nerves are natural. Please try relax and do things like mindfulness. There's lots of apps out there, and we do mindfulness webinars also. Thinking positively, again, we have webinars on mindset, and we can take you through all these things on a one-to-one basis if you prefer with your program manager. Don't dwell on it when things go wrong, and if you are, then speak to us, but learn from it and move on. Act confidently, even if you don't feel it. We fake it until we make it, remember, and believe in your own ability. So it is comforting to know that even the most confident looking and sounding people are not always really confident, but if you can act confident, only you will know that you're not, and that practice makes perfect. So get your open body language, your smile and your enthusiasm out there, and people really will think that you are confident. I would like to do some kind of call to action, so I won't put you on the spot here, but I'd like you to identify something you'd like to do, but you feel your confidence is stopping you from doing it. It doesn't have to be anything huge, just a first step. Take time to think about this, then contact your program manager at Springboard, and then we'll take it from there if that sounds okay. We are here for you. So, any questions Give me a thumbs up if you've understood today, and if you've got any questions, then please ask now. Or any comments.
I've got a bit of a classic question that we've been asking at the end of every webinar, but I'll spring it on you now.
Yeah.
So if I had fallen asleep for the last half an hour, 45 minutes, and I hadn't been listening, or I tuned out, or I just didn't feel right, and my brain had gone on the fritz, if you had 30 seconds to tell me what you reckon your top tips from the session are, what would you go for?
Okay, I think believe in yourself. Yeah, so don't think that everybody else is confident and that we're not. We've all got battles to you know, our own battles to fight. So I would say speak to your program manager if you've got an issue with confidence. It's absolutely something that we can help with. So don't suffer in silence. And the other thing is, you know, positive thinking. We get into a really negative cycle of, you know, negative self-chatter. So go on other webinars that we've got, like the, you know, positive mindset and things. And especially in times like this and lockdown, we can feel that we're the only person going through certain things. And this is where we're here to help. We have the experience, we have skills, we have the expertise. And we have the real passion where we want to help people. So that's what I would say, is believe in yourself. And if you can't, come and speak to us.